A minister goes to Israel. A photo is posted online. And suddenly, a storm erupts in Belfast, because this time it wasn't just a trip, it was a test of conscience. And the question echoes far beyond Ireland. How close can you stand to power without betraying humanity? And in a world on fire over Gaza, even silence is political. On November 11th, 2025, the Northern Ireland Assembly prepared for a no-confidence vote. The target, Education Minister Paul Givan. His crime wasn't a policy or a speech. It was a trip to Israel, a trip funded by the Israeli embassy in London. Flights, hotels, meals, all paid for by a government waging war on Gaza. Photos of Givan smiling in a Jerusalem school hit social media. His department even issued a press release praising the visit. But teachers' unions across Ireland called it what it was, an insult. One union said it whitewashed genocide. Another called for his resignation, because you can't shake hands with the occupier and still claim neutrality. The BBC revealed the cost, £3,810. A number so small and yet so heavy, because that money bought more than a flight. It bought legitimacy. While Gaza burns, a Western official was being hosted, fed, photographed by those enforcing the siege. In his defense, Givan said everything was procedurally sound. But ethics don't run on procedure. They run on principle. And every photo op under occupation is a bullet of silence. Ireland stands apart. In May, it became one of the first European nations, alongside Spain and Norway, to officially recognize the State of Palestine. Its president, Michael D. Higgins, didn't mince words. He called Gaza a tragic genocide. He urged the world to invoke the UN Charter's Chapter 7, to bypass Security Council vetoes, and deploy a humanitarian force. In his final year as president, he warned of a world of impunity, a world where power shields itself from consequence. And he asked a question that should haunt every capital in Europe. What is democracy worth if it stays silent before a massacre? But the British Isles are divided. While Dublin speaks of justice, Belfast faces its own ghosts. The Democratic Unionist Party, Givan's party, stood by him. They called criticism overblown, but to others, the symbolism was clear. Unionist loyalty to power still outweighs loyalty to people. The tension isn't just political, it's moral. Ireland knows what colonization feels like. It knows what it means to be erased, starved, silenced. That memory is alive, and it beats for Palestine. Because the oppressed recognize the sound of chains, even across oceans. Across Europe, governments talk of balance. Trade continues. Arms flow. Statements are drafted, edited, softened. But beneath the language of diplomacy, something is breaking. 9 EU countries have already urged Brussels to examine trade ties with illegal Israeli settlements. And inside parliaments, young politicians are refusing to stay quiet. Because every time a minister visits occupied Jerusalem, another bridge to justice burns. The Middle East Monitor called it a crisis of conscience. From Belfast to Bethlehem, the story is the same. Those who speak truth are branded as radicals. Those who stay silent, rewarded. But the tide is shifting. People see through the PR, the statements, the photos. They see a genocide live-streamed pixel by pixel, day after day. And they are asking, what side of history are we on? Because neutrality is just another name for surrender. In the streets of Dublin, Limerick, Belfast, the chants grow louder. Free Palestine echoes off ancient stone. Irish voices, the descendants of famine and rebellion, are rising again. This time, not for themselves, but for a people they've never met. Because empathy is not geography, it's memory. And Ireland remembers. They once were the colonized. Now, they refuse to be the complicit. One trip to Israel sparked a scandal, but behind that scandal lies a deeper story of a Europe torn between conscience and comfort. Ireland has chosen its side. It chose humanity. The question is, will the rest of us? Because every handshake in Jerusalem echoes through Gaza's ruins. Every silence speaks louder than bombs. The world is watching. Don't stay silent.